So, in fact, I think that things have started to climb. People have been telling me, no, it's not expensive, and then they cite Vietnam, it's maybe less expensive there, or Thailand, and I really think that it depends where you are. We're in the province of Bohol, which actually is a small island. It's next to Cebu, which doesn't look a whole lot bigger when I look at the map. So they're small islands. Off Bohol, you can go to any number of small islands that are very picturesque and beautiful, extremely simple life that are being there. You can look on Facebook and you'll be able to check up on some of the islands with our friend Scott. It's under Scott Brinks, and he is currently looking at some of the other islands just for sheer pleasure. He doesn't it's not a travelogue, okay? You just go there on Facebook and he may have some short videos, but in the main I think that he's showing some very, very nice scenes in the small islands that he's going to, and with an informative kind of text to what he's putting up as a post. So, well, I haven't really. The only real treat that I've got that's unusual was the classic wedges, and they are like the chunky. It's like a chunky French fry, and I think that it may have been part cooked, I don't know, but it's very easy to put into the frying pan, and they are a little tasty treat. Of course, like all treats, you only have to look at, here's a quick guide for anybody who's not quite sure of whether something is good for them or not. Do you really love eating it? Whatever it is, do you love to eat it? Do you pine for it? Are you addicted to it? If so, it's not good for you. Okay? So you can throw out anything with sugar. You can throw out the bacon. Don't eat the bacon. Someone even suggested 3 fruits that if you are over 60, I think it was, that was the condition, that you can't eat. And guess what? I was amazed at this and don't believe it. Oranges. You can't eat oranges because they're not healthy for you. Give me a break. How can it possibly be that an orange is not good for you? Unless, of course, it's been painted on the inside with some of the insecticides that they use. Now, here's the quandary that everybody has if they're trying to eat good food. Even if you cook your own food, even if you have a Talik in your family who cooks beautifully, you still will be at the mercy of those who grow. Now, I used to enjoy, with slight reservation, I used to enjoy the tomatoes that I would buy at the local superstore, right? And I began to notice more and more that when I broke open the pack, they would be in a small pack, and when I used to break that open, there used to be just a hint of a smell that was a little bit, it reminded me of mildew, and I thought if something actually smells of mildew, how could it be good for you? So I stopped buying those. Now, apparently from several people that I've spoken to, growing your own tomatoes in the Philippines is a little bit difficult. So even if I go out to the local market, I probably will buy something that has been tainted in some way, in some kind of fertilizer. And every way, we used to, I gave some of the rice away that Rado had taken from his and our rice fields up on the mountain. And when I gave that rice, of course, once the rice has been picked, it's dried sometimes in the road. You may be going along a road and half of the road has been pirated with rice spread out on a tarpaulin to dry. Once it's dried, they take it down to the rice mill and they mill it, okay? And then you get that back. Now, the one guy that I actually gifted some rice to at that way back, he said that that was the best rice he'd ever tasted. Now, when I buy rice, and actually I didn't show you in that there was 3 kilos of rice. I just remembered. We put 3 kilos of rice in that bundle of rice here, plus toilet paper. So those were 2 items that I actually forgot. Let me see. Yeah, I forgot to show you those. And that was camia rice. And Beth always tells me to get if I am instructed to buy rice, I don't need the instruction anymore because I've been doing the groceries for so long. But I know to get camia rice, which she says is the best rice. Going by the price, it probably is. But the 3 kilos, 5 kilos. So the camia rice sack, 5 kilos in one bag was 264. Work that out about it's maybe $5. So that, and the other meat and everything. Now, so the problem is that we are no longer able to buy food that is not tainted in some way at some point. Now, I used to buy packs of 4 and 6 apples, which out of habit I always peel an apple anyway. But apparently they do spray them with something or other so that they will stay fresh looking and hopefully tasting until they're bought from the shelf. So they go on the shelf and they have been treated to keep them looking nice. Right. So if you wanted to go on a trip into hell, if you look at it, one of our subscribers said, if you have bought honey and stored it in the fridge, and if it still runs, then it's probably cut with something else, maybe even soy. So even the honey that I love to think is making me very healthy is probably cut down, because generally speaking it does flow fairly easily. That's right. I'm sure that if we looked at Skyflake crackers, I buy these to go with the cheese, and wouldn't you know it, Beth feeds them to the dogs. Still, the dogs haven't complained, so it's okay. So Pansy, I did watch. I'm not saying this one. I guess I should blot out the name, and it wasn't about this specific pancit noodle. I did watch one which told a terrible story about pancit noodles. Also, I've just watched a video where they kept the camera on pork chop. So they had a piece of meat, like a pork chop like this, which they had taken from the supermarket, wherever it was, and they poured Coca-Cola onto it. And the next few minutes were like a horror story, because you might know from some of my videos that I'm always saying that if you live in the Philippines, you have parasites. Now, since I started saying this, lots of other people who are much more qualified on these things than I am, like doctors and nutritionists, are actually saying even worse about parasites. That in fact, almost all of the maladies, diseases, infections, whatever you want to say, are actually caused by the parasites that we have, because they're in there wriggling away, eating, sometimes eating the sides of our stomach, apparently, filthy little devils, and they are causing, of course, whatever they eat, after they've processed it, they go and poop out the rest into where? I don't know, into some little tiny toilet inside our stomach, probably. Although you shouldn't quote me on that, it's not a scientific fact. There's probably no door on that toilet as well. Anyway, we are really stymied for eating perfectly healthy, because even now, I was, for a while, I was vegetarian, and it coincided with using the juicer. I had a juicer which I bought for $5 at the Goodwill, and I used the juicer faithfully every day, and I really felt very healthy. But I was eating mildly, and I did have some meat at the end of the day for dinner, when I would have a very, very fast stir fry of all the vegetables that I had eaten during the day anyway. And I was very, very healthy, felt marvelous. But I was also doing a huge amount of gym work, working out. I was rollerblading around Balboa Park. For those of you who are in California, near in San Fernando Valley, you'll know Balboa Park as a park with a hard concrete, a nice concrete path in the perimeter, which for skating and all of that, running, was absolutely ideal. And I did a whole lot of that, so I was very healthy. But then I started to eat meat again, because now you've got people like Jordan Peterson claiming, and why would we doubt what he says, saying that he only eats steak. Oh, that we could all afford to just eat steak. But anyway, he doesn't eat, he eats apparently very little vegetables. So what the hell? Who is to believe what? It's impossible now. You know, I always think back to that Woody Allen movie. I think it might have been called The Sleeper. I'm not sure, but he did a Rip Van Winkle type character where he slept and he didn't wake up for 100 or so years. 100 years means nothing now, of course, so probably if there was a remake it would be 200 or 300 years to see an appreciable difference. But when he woke up, he said at one point in one of the scenes, one of the people, the scientists in the time he had woken up in, said, yes, well, Woody has come from a time when they actually didn't realize that junk food was the healthiest food to have. So he had turned it round opposite. Funnily enough, in the situation that we're going through at the moment, where everything is turned around, where the victim has become the predator. So if you nowadays, especially if you're in England and you go out and somebody pulls a knife on you, and you, in your panic of survival, you might sock the guy and knock him out. When he hits the ground and gets a bump on his head, that's your fault. How do we work that? Remember that there was a case not very long ago where a man was harassing, threatening, and making people feel endangered on the underground, the tube, whatever they call it in America. They've got some other weird name. We call it the tube. And the only person who stepped up to help curb this man's violence against whoever was there next to him, took him down and held him down until the underground police came and arrested the man who had stepped up and risked his own personal safety in helping others. And he was taken to court, and there was a big scene about it, where had he been too violent, or had he offended the man that was threatening anybody? That's the big thing now. Now you've got to be very careful. If a man pulls a gun or threatens you with a knife, you know, saying, I'm going to cut your throat, or I'm going to cut your heart out and eat it and everything, you've got to be very careful about what you say, because he might be offended. You can understand the problem that the judges have, that these people come up, even though actually I will stand corrected on this to an extent, in that I've watched a video on YouTube where the young man, who was I think 14 or 15, he was legally a minor, had brutally raped a young woman who apparently was younger than he was. It doesn't matter, does it? A brutal rape is a brutal rape. And he went to court with a smile on his face. You know why? Because he said, and his lawyer confirmed this, you'll be out in no time. You're a minor. What can they do to you? And that's what he said. Look, he's looking over at the parents of this child that he has brutalized, and he has no remorse. He's saying, you know, it doesn't matter what you feel, because I'm going to be out in no time. I'm just a minor. Fortunately, the judge said, oh, really? And he tried him as, wait a minute, darling, I'm talking about something serious. He tried him as an adult, so was able to give him a sentence that made sense. Now, you've hijacked
Nothing.
my
I'm
video.
sleepy.
What have you got to say?
I'm just gonna eat orange.
You're not on screen.
I'm just gonna eat orange.
Oh, honey,
Orange.
honey, it's such a profound thing to have said after you've come on this.
Yeah.
Will you be all right? Will you be able to peel that for
And
yourself?
I think I will have fever soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm in the
Well, so
heat.
I have even more duties then as a caregiver. Well, at least say goodbye.
Like and subscribe. Thank you.
Welcome to Marriage in the Philippines. I'm only, just remember this, I'm only the driver. I hope if you found anything of any use, hopefully not to be offended. I'm really trying to be careful. Must pick up that Woke Forever picture that I saw in the Okai store. Must get that on the wall in the bedroom as soon as I possibly can. You got to be woke, haven't you? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and it really helps if you do, especially if you can find something in what you have seen that would inspire you to share it with a friend. Then it makes a difference, and of course we will be seen by more people, which, even if it's only in my mind, would be nice. Bye for now.